Hi, well, it's the 1st of April, Wednesday, the 1st of April, past the time when I can trick you, so don't worry. Um, we'll be looking at a class again today. We'll just go through the lifting and sinking exercises, the five loosening exercises. Responding to the feedback that I've had from some people, we'll just go through a piece of the form. So previously I'd recorded, a long time ago, I'd recorded the sections of the short form so that people could learn those at home and have some confidence to practice them. We'll be doing section 5, C and D. So that's right towards the end of the short form. So what I thought we'd do, we'd go from the back of the end of the short form and work slowly backwards, depending how long we end up in this lockdown situation. So, and then of course we'll finish with the meditation. So, I've rearranged the recording studio. So we'll just begin with the lifting and sinking. Take a really good in breath, fill the lungs. And on the out breath, come down through the brain, the closing down through the chest and trunk, melting the body, down through to the soles of the feet. And then another really good in-breath, fill the lungs. The out-breath, settling down to the ground, relax the ankles, bend the knees, open the lower back. As you settle to the ground, listen to the foot pressure. And then a third really good in-breath, fill the lungs. The out-breath, down through the brain, closing down through the chest and trunk, melting down through the legs. Pressure in the feet as you settle into the ground. And listening to the foot pressure now, we'll begin the real lifting and sinking, you might say. So from the feet, pull the mind up through the legs, as if pulling two streams of liquid light up through the legs that join at the waist, up through the central upper body to the crown of the head. And on the out breath, take the mind down over the face like a liquid flowing over the face, shoulders, chest, down over the abdomen, buttocks, hips, thighs, relaxing, releasing the muscles, settling into the ground. From the foot pressure, pull up again, like pulling two streams of liquid light up through to the crown of the head, all the way to the crown of the head. And on the out breath, as if that liquid were to flow down over the crown of the head, over the face, neck, shoulders, chest, trunk, buttocks, hips, thighs, calves, into the feet. From the foot pressure, pull up again, smooth wave of lifting, pulling up through the legs, up through to the crown of the head. The out breath flowing down over the face, neck, shoulders, melting the body, settling down into the feet. Listen to the foot pressure. And now we move a slight step ahead. So from the foot pressure, begin to pull the mind up through the ankles and then the knees and then the hips. And only now begin to let the knees respond. Mind moves on to the chest, back of the neck, crown of the head. Take the mind down through the spine to the lower back so the spine is lengthening. And let the lower back begin to open as the mind moves into the knees, which are bending, and the feet, mind moves into the feet, which are flattening onto the ground. And from there, pull the mind up, ankles, knees, hips. Finally, the knees are beginning to straighten up through the chest, back of the neck, crown of the head. Down through the spine, lower back opening, spine lengthening, into the knees, which are bending, into the feet, which are flattening onto the ground. The upper body flows onto the lower body. Listen to the foot pressure. Pull the mind up through the ankles, knees, hips, chest, back of the neck, crown of the head. And then down through the spine on the out breath, so the spine lengthens, lower back is opening, mind moves into the knees, mind moves into the feet, upper body is flowing onto the lower body, foot pressure. Pull the mind up from the foot pressure, up through the legs with a slight delay in response of the body, up through the upper body to the crown of the head. The out breath down through the spine to the lower back. Let the lower body fall away. Lower body's falling away, the spine's lengthening. Upper body's flowing onto the lower body. Foot pressure's building. Let the mind rise in and around the waist. From the waist, let the awareness expand out from the waist to the top of the head and the soles of the feet. And from the feet, pull up again, smooth wave of lifting up through to the crown of the head. The out breath down through the spine, lower back, knees, touch into the feet, and let the mind rise through the falling legs, so that the mind rises into the waist as the upper body flows onto the lower body. We're listening in the waist pressure. Let the mind expand out from the center to the crown of the head and the soles of the feet. From the feet, pull smoothly up through the legs to the crown of the head. The out breath flowing down so the lower body falls away, the spine lengthens. Touch into the feet, foot pressure, and let the mind rise through the changing legs into the waist. The upper body flows onto the lower body, waist pressure. Expand out to the crown of the head and the soles of the feet. We'll do that a few more times. From the feet, pull strongly up through the legs, up through to the crown of the head. The out breath down through the body so the lower body falls away. Touch into the feet early. Let the mind rise through the changing legs, in and around the waist. Upper body flows onto the lower body. Listen to the waist pressure. Expand out to the crown of the head and the soles of the feet again. Pull up strongly from the feet through to the crown of the head. The out breath, mind down so the lower body's falling away to lengthen the spine. Touch into the feet. Let the mind rise through the changing legs to in and around the waist. The upper body flows onto the lower body. Waist pressure then expands out to capture the crown of the head and the soles of the feet. One more time, pull strongly up through the legs to the crown of the head. The out breath, mind down, center falls away, spine's lengthening. Touch into the feet. Let the mind rise through the changing legs. The upper body flows onto the lower body. Waist pressure, expand out around the body. And we'll finish there with one more lifting through to the crown of the head. And then flow down and into the right foot as we prepare for the loosening exercises, stepping out on the left. Over and down to the right foot. Settle to both feet. Smooth wave of lifting. Pull up through to the crown of the head. Mind to the left foot as you turn to the right. Pull up through to the crown of the head. Mind to the right foot as you turn to the left. Still using the good in breaths and out breaths to close down. So we're going a little slower through the cycle than normal. Really good in breath, and on the out breath, closing down. Giving yourself that strong message to close down the superficial part of the brain. And as we begin to transition towards a slightly more fluid, faster movement, listen in and around the waist for the big forces that occur in the center of the body, the big waves that ripple through the center of the body. So listening in and around the waist. And then put the mind down through the leg that you're about to sink into. So you're listening to the quad, the knee and the foot pressure. Quad, knee, foot pressure. Quad, knee, foot pressure. So this listening down in the leg, of course, energizes the leg a little more than it would do normally. So it's not just a listening. By putting the mind into the leg, of course, moving the awareness has an intention buried within it. And when you listen into the leg, it creates an energizing in the leg muscles, which increases the tendency for the muscles, the active muscles, to stretch. So then we're looking for the center of the body supported on a fluid support of the leg. So like the bowl on the water that we often talk about in the classes. So we look for the leg not to be jammed at all, the leg muscles to be stretching to support the weight of the upper body that flows into the stretching leg. The longer trained people, you can begin where we left off with the lifting and sinking exercise. You can touch into the foot very early. Let the mind rise in and around the leg to listen at the waist as the upper body flows onto the lower body. So touching into the foot early and mind rising to in and around the waist, and listen to the waist pressure. And increase that waist pressure by changing the shape of the upper body. So that's shoulder blades flowing down to compress the spine, change the shape of the thoracic region of the spine, which of course influences the chest, back of the neck. So as we flow down and into the foot, we increase the center pressure, waist pressure, by changing the upper body to flow down. We change to the second loosening exercise. Smooth wave of lifting, really good in-breath. The out-breath, the flowing down to the ground for the 4 half-arm swims. Lifting smoothly through the legs, center, chest, back of the neck, down through the spine, lower back, into the knees, into the feet. Lifting from the feet, smoothly through to the crown of the head, down through the spine, lower back, knees, foot pressure. And for the longer trained people, of course, the newer people should concentrate on making sure that the centers are moving really smoothly and that the hips open in the lifting, front of the hips open in the lifting, and the lower back opens in the falling. But for the longer trained people who have that established as semi instinctive response already in their bodies, so the hips automatically open in the lifting, and so the lower back automatically opens in the falling, then you can listen in and around the waist as the upper body develops the center pressure flowing down. So in and around the waist, particularly at the last moments, and then pull up through to the crown of the head. So don't forget there's a good in-breath on the lifting, and a long, slow out-breath on the sinking. When you practice these exercises for yourselves, you should pick one aspect that you think isn't working so well for you. Because there's a lot of information, a lot to think about, pick one aspect that's maybe not working as well as you'd like it to, or I've told you in the past it's not working as well as it ought to. And pick that aspect and then make that the thing that you concentrate on. Try to change that thing. So by trying to change that thing, of course it may not happen over 1 or 2 practices, or 1 or 2 weeks, or even 1 or 2 months. Sometimes it takes a long time to change the fundamental way in which we move. And so that's, in fact, you can look at that as a positive thing, in that it gives us a certain level of robustness, and if we were able to change these things instantly, we'd probably be quite a mess. We'd be pulled all over the place, all the time. Whereas that resistance to change, in part, gives us a certain stability. But we want to refine the way we move. And it's a deep part of the mind that manages the way that we move. And so finding that deeper part and then finally making the changes takes some persistence, some perseverance, some effort. But do it with an inner smile, you might say. Progress is being made. You can be assured of that. If you're training genuinely, progress will be being made. It's just not always possible to see it. And then this is, my teacher says, you never regret time spent on trying to develop your inner self. This is part of developing your inner self. So nobody regrets the effort to change and develop yourself. And relax. We'll do the third one. Smooth twisting waves through the body. So we sink down and forward to stretch through the long arm of the rear arm. That's pulled forward and then swings forward by about 30 degrees. And then the sitting back pulls the arm over, as if pulling it over a barrel or something in front of the chest. The shoulder, elbow, wrist. So just remember what I say in class quite a lot is that the shoulder and elbow for a time are pulled on the same circle. So there's a time when the shoulder and the elbow are moving on the same line. Of course, at slightly different times. The elbow's behind the shoulder in terms of timing. So the shoulder gets pulled and then the elbow gets pulled. So you'll want those to be pulled up and over by the turning of the waist. I've just realised that actually in so doing my knees are getting a bit wild, so just be careful with the knees. Make sure you keep the knees aligned over the centre line of the toes. We'll try not to let them collapse in with the turning of the waist. So concentrate on the big twisting wave. So this gives you a little massage, you might say. Starts to pump the fluids around the body usefully. Big twisting wave in and around the spine. You can concentrate in and around the spine and look for that big torsional wave. If you notice, I'm keeping the head fairly looking forward as opposed to letting the head turn. So the head forward, that means there's a big twisting that takes place right the way through the neck, all the way up onto through the shoulders to the back of the neck, back of the head. So the head forward and the body twisting beneath it helps to loosen off these. We do the fourth one. So really good in breath, fill the lungs. The out breath, mind down, center down, spine lengthens, shoulder blades drop, spine's compressing, elbows drop, wrists drop, hips are opening already, and then pull up, smooth wave of lifting, mind down, center down, shoulder blades dropping, elbows dropping, wrists dropping, hips are opening, pull up from the feet to the crown of the head, good in breath, mind down, center down. As you settle onto the ground on this one, let the hands stabilize. Pull up from the feet. Mind down, center down. Shoulder blades dropping, hips open, hands fill. Bend the knees, touch onto the elbows, straighten the legs. You can open the backs of the knees more on this one, give yourself a bit of a stretch. People are probably sitting around more than they would do normally, so open the backs of the knees. As much movement in the shoulder girdle as you can. We bend the knees, concentrate in the lower back. Begin to organise the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, listening in and around the spine as you organise the spine, as if rolling up against a wall. Small turn to the right, press away from the right foot, turn the left toes in, adjusting the right foot, flow down and into the centre, settle to the front foot, push back through the spine. over and down to the back foot, flow into the centre. Send the mind out from the rear hip, so the rear hip is opening and the front knee goes forward at the same time. Then settle to the front foot, energise the spine, sit a long way back, over and down to the back foot. Rear knee is bending, lower back is opening, shoulder blades drop. Send the mind out from the rear hip, front knee goes forward. Settle to the front foot, sit back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, flow down and forward. Rear hip, front knee, both go forward. Shoulder blades drop, chest opens. Settle to the front foot, pushing back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, flowing down and into the centre. Shoulder blades drop, hip opens, chest opens. Settle to the front foot. Sit back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, flow down and into the centre. Send the mind out from the rear hip and the front knee goes forward as well. And then settle to the front foot. We'll sit back on this one, breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Place the heel, turn the right toes in, press away from the left foot, adjusting the left foot. Flow down and into the back foot. Rear hip is opening. Settle to the front foot. Push back through the spine. Over and down to the back foot. So the rear knee bends, the lower back is opening. Shoulder blades drop. Send the mind out from the rear hip and the front knee goes forward. Settle to the front foot. Energize the spine. Sit a long way back. Over and down to the back foot. Flowing into the centre. Send the mind out from the rear hip. Shoulder blades are dropping. Settle to the front foot, sitting back. Good in-breath on the sitting back, over and down to the back foot, flow down and into the centre, shoulder blades drop, hip open, send the mind out to some distant point on the wall, and then settle to the front foot. Sit back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, lower back is opening, rear hip is opening, send the mind out from the rear hip, shoulder blades drop, settle to the front foot. Sit a long way back through the spine, over and down to the back foot, flow down and into the centre. Keep the shoulder blades dropping, rear hip opens, chest opens. Settle to the front foot. We'll sit back on this one. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and sink. Okay. Where we would normally do the short form in its entirety, we'll just go through a piece of the short form, and as I say, I've already recorded the pieces of the short form and broken them down. So there are 5 sections in the short form, and I've broken each of those 5 sections down into subcategories of A, B, C, whatever. In the way that I've recorded it, you'll see, so this is 5 C and D, the very last bits of the form. If you haven't got those links, most of my students will have. If you haven't got those links, then you can email me and I'll get them to you. If you're very new, then look at the first section of the short form, which is there, that's section 1, A, B, C, D, whatever, and just learn that, because it makes no sense to learn the form from the back. This is really for people who've already captured, in essence, the whole of the short form. But if you don't know it, that first section, you don't need links. The first section is available to everyone, as far as I remember. So we'll just go from, I'll do it side on, and then maybe I'll do it this way. We'll just see how it works. So from the shoot tiger with bow, so let me find that position. Shoot tiger with bow, and then connect to the front foot, and sit back so the arms are beginning to lengthen and the palms open. As I'm turning to the left, turn the right toes in, and the hands are dropping. Sit back to the right foot, sinking to the back foot, and the left knee lifts, and then the forearm and the knee fall away. And as I settle to the left foot, I put the heel down and the toes to the corner, and then as I settle to the left foot, there's a small turn left, and then spiral up and out to the right, stepping with the right, put the heel down, concentrating the right heel, keep the arms long, adjusting the back foot, come onto the ball of the back foot, step through with the back foot, and then begin to sink down and into the back foot so the rear hip opens for the punch. Apparent closing, drop the left hand under the right elbow with a small turn to the left, and then sit back through the stretching arms, over and down to the back foot, flow down and into the centre, rear hip opens, chest opens, hands fill and expand. We won't do the, we'll do the turn to close the form in a moment or two. So we'll just do that, I'll do that again actually in the same orientation. So shoot tiger with bow. So this is one span from the right eyebrow, one span from the left ribs. Then connect to the front foot, sit back and the palms are opening. And as I turn to the left, let the hands begin to drop, turning the right toes in. Hands are dropping and then they swing up and the left knee lifts at the same time. So that's sinking into the back leg. Then step with the left, hands fall away. Put the heel of the left foot down and turn the toes to the corner. And then I'm settling into the left foot with a slight turn left. So this is closing the quad. And then spiral up and out to the right. So the centre's beginning to lift, shoulders, elbows, wrists. Stepping with the right heel, concentrating the right heel. Pivot on the heel of the back heel. Onto the ball of the back foot, stepping through, then pivoting on the heel of the back foot as I'm sinking. Send the mind out from the rear hip for the punch. Thumbs on the knuckle of the elbow, and I drop under the elbow, turning slightly to the left, and I rest the forearm into the crook of the crook of just behind the thumb here. Then sit back, sliding around a ball if you like. Over and down to the back foot, flow into the centre, send out the mind from the rear hip, hands expand, settle to the front foot, sit back through the spine for the turn. We'll do that in a bit. Maybe I'll do it facing this way so you can see. So shoot tiger with bow. I'll do it this way. Shoot tiger with bow. One span. One span. Connect to the front foot, sit back and the hands open. Turning to the left, turn the right toes in. Sinking to the back foot for the knee to lift. Step through. Put the heel down, turn the toes to the corner. Turning to the left slightly. Then spiral up and out to the right. Stepping with the right heel. Pivot on the heel of the back foot. Ball of the back foot. Step through. Pivoting on the heel of the back foot for sinking for the punch. Small turn to the left and the left hand drops under the right elbow. And the forearm drops into the crook of the, if that's the word, of the behind the thumb. Sit a long way back, over and down to the back foot. Move into the centre, rear hip opens, chest opens, hands fill. And then to finish the form, we normally, we always sit back and turn, thumb past the breastbone, settling to the left foot, pivot on the ball of the right foot, heel of the right step, settle to the ground. Smooth wave of lifting. Left slides over the right as the lower body is falling away. Pivot on the heel of the left foot, ball of the right foot, and draw the right heel to the left. Okay, maybe we'll do it again in that orientation. Shoot tiger with bow. So, shoot tiger with bow. Hoping you can see this. I'll be able to find out in a minute when I'm looking at the result of the filming. So, one span from the right eyebrow, one span from the left wrist, elbow to the ribs, one span. Connect to the front foot, sit back and the palms open. As I'm turning to the left, the hands are dropping, turn the right toes in, sinking down and into the back foot for the knee to lift. Then float, the left leg falls away. Put the heel down and turn the toes to the corner. Flow down and into the left foot, turning to the left. Spiral up and out to the right, long arms. Stepping with the right. Pivot on the heel of the back foot. Step through with the back foot. Pivot on the heel of the back foot. Send the mind out from the rear hip. Small turn to the left and the left hand drops under the right elbow. Sit back, pulling through the stretching front arms. Over and down to the back foot, so the rear hip opens, chest opens, hands fill. Settle to the front foot, sit back through the spine. Turning to the right, turn the left toes in. Press away from the right foot, pivot on the ball of the foot, the heel of the foot, step. Left slides over right. Pivot on the heel of the left foot, the ball of the right foot. Draw the right heel to the left. And then stand. So normally that's the conclusion of the form. Just check the time. Maybe one more time. I'm not sure which orientation is going to work best. I'll do it one more time in that orientation. I won't say so much this time. And I'll do it once without saying too much in the other orientation, the one we began with, which was facing this way. I think I'm about to go out of shot actually. I'll just step back. I'll do that one more time in that orientation. I'll start a little further back because I was pretty sure I was going to disappear off camera there. Maybe I will again. Okay, so there's always more and more detail, we might say, that we can go through, but I think that's semi-reasonable. You can ask your questions by email or drop them on the WeChat group, which some people are more active on than others. So that section of the form, 5C and D, if you want to have a look at the recordings that I've done previously with no actual teaching, just a demonstration of them, you can see them in a slightly more flowing way, and they were done in front of mirrors, so you can perhaps, anyway, use everything you can. Okay, we're going to do the meditation. Take a really good in-breath, fill the lungs. And take the awareness from the crown of the head down through the brain, the closing down through the chest and trunk, melting the body, pressure in the seat, awareness in the room. Pull the awareness back into yourself. A good in-breath, fill the lungs. Awareness to the crown of the head and come down through the brain, the closing down, melting down through the chest and trunk. Find the pressure in the seat. Spread the awareness out into the room and beyond the room into the local outer streets or park or wherever you are. And then another really good in-breath, pulling back from the outer world. Another really good in-breath, fill the lungs. Onto the crown of the head. The out-breath coming down through the brain, melting down through the chest and trunk. Pressure in the seat, awareness in the room. Spread out into the outer world. Pull back from the outer world, leaving that distant. Pull back to yourself with a gentle in-breath. On the out-breath, fall into that unfathomably deep space that represents your inner world. Let go. Fall into that space. Touch into the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet. Look for the tingling fullness, warmth. Concentrate fully in and around the hands and feet, capturing the sensations. Then begin to pull the mind up through the ankles and wrists, looking for warmth and fullness up through the lower arms and legs, up through to the knees and elbows and beyond into the upper arms and upper legs, up into the hips and shoulders. And just sense simultaneously into the forelimbs, listening into those as deeply as you possibly can. And then listen out into the heat field that surrounds them. Heat field surrounds the limbs. And take a sense of that heat field from the shoulders up through the neck to surround the head. So the head now cloaked in a cloud of awareness. Pull that down from the head, down through the neck, down through the chest and trunk. Looking for something deeper than the warmth and fullness. So looking for the energetic systems working. Then down to the base between the legs, perineum. A good in-breath, gathering a cloud of light from all around you. Concentrate that down to a fist-sized cloud of light at the base between the legs. Remain concentrated there as you allow the breathing to return to normal. And then we'll form an intention to lift, and on a gentle in-breath, pull the mind round to the sacrum. Using a strong effort of the mind, pull up through the spine, so lower back, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck, crown of the head. The out-breath flowing down over the front centre line, over the face, throat, chest. Forget the breathing, pull at the base. From there, pull strongly round to the sacrum, rise to the belt line and split. 2 streams of light pulled either side of the spine, all the way up the back. The out-breath of flowing down the outsides of the arms, over the backs of the forearms, backs of the hands, middle fingers, into the palms of the hands. Concentrate fully in the palms of the hands. They should be full of warmth and fullness. From there, pull strongly up, simultaneously up the inside of each arm, pulling up strongly up onto the chest. On the out-breath, the flowing down the 2 sides of the chest. Forget the breathing, flow down to the belt line, around the belt line to the navel, down the front centre line to the base. Pull strongly up through the central thrusting channel to the height of the solar plexus. The out-breath of flowing away again back to the base, spread up over the quad. Begin to flow down the fronts and outsides of the legs, fronts and outsides of the knees. Continue down the fronts and outsides of the shins. Forget the breathing. Down to the crease in the ankle, along the middle toe, along the tops of the feet to the middle toes, over the middle toes and into the soles of the feet. Full concentration there, look for warmth and fullness. Pull strongly up from there, up the instep, snaking behind the ankle, inside backs of the calves, crease in the knee, inside backs of the thighs, all the way up to the base between the legs and on the central channel inside to the height of the navel. And the out breath of falling away back to the base again. So now, having moved the mind through the 8 channels, we'll gather the cloud of light in and around the lower body energy centers. So each in-breath gathering a cloud of light. The out-breath, you can allow the awareness to ripple out into the arm's length distance. And on the in-breath, the gathering in again. So gathering a cloud of light, strongly gathered in and around the lower dantian. The out-breath rippling back out again. For a 3rd time, perhaps, I've lost count. Concentrate and gather strongly in and around the lower dantian. And now we're making a big effort inside ourselves. Pull the cloud of light up through the body as if pulling on a gushing stream of something unstoppable, pulled up to the height of the solar plexus. And the out-breath, let the cloud of light billow out to fill the chest, fill the body, fill the heat field, and then beyond the heat field into the arm's length distance that surrounds the body, right out into this space. And concentrating to the back, sides, above and below. And gather at the base again, pull strongly up, as if pulling on something unstoppable. Big effort in such a way that the muscles inside are activated up to the height of the solar plexus. The out-breath expanding out through the chest, body, heat field, and into the arm's length distance. So now listen more in that large dantian, that, as we say, into the cloud of light surrounding the body than in the body itself. We gather for a 3rd time at the base, pull strongly up, a really big effort. The out-breath expanding out through the chest, body, heat field, and into the arm's length distance. And out in this space now, listening into the heat field, into the large dantian that surrounds the body. We can begin to move the mind like swirling your hand through water or something. Move the mind in and around that space, like swirling smoky light in a glass globe. You can even swirl it round the limbs, up one leg, down another leg, whatever you like. Up one arm, down the other arm, back up the same arm, in and around the trunk, in and around the head. Swirl the mind in and around, so with the effect of the intention of moving the energy in and around the body. And then we take that cloud of light and we allow it to compress down gently, back down into the middle dantian, solar plexus, up into the height of the chest. So from the solar plexus to the base of the throat, armpit to armpit, cloud of light. Go deeply and quietly into the center of the light. Choose some person or a small group of connected people. Be very clear on who it is. And send the stream of light out towards that person or that collected group of people. The stream of light that goes out and surrounds the person or the group with light, cloud of light. Of course, we're asking for nothing. This is just an offering, you might say, from a deep part of ourselves to a deep part of them. So this is a soul-to-soul connection. We ask for nothing. We just offer something. And then with With some thanks and a sense of respect for the connection made, you can withdraw the intention back to yourself, back to the middle dantian. Expand out once more into the arm's length distance. And we take the cloud of light and allow it to gently reduce back down to in and around the solar plexus again, up into the chest. And we push that cloud of light up through the chest, up through the neck, into the center of the head. Centered in the head now, we let it expand out into the arm's length distance, but centered in the head. And take that cloud of light and allow it to gently, once again, reduce down to surround the head. And go deeply and quietly into the center of the light, centered in the head, with the express intention of connecting to our inner guide or conscience. So this is a very high part that is only interested in our inner development. So you can open yourself up to this part of yourself. It's important that you only open up to within yourself parts of yourself. That's an important thing. So opening up to things outside of yourself is a dangerous endeavor and foolish. So we concentrate fully to open up a connection between you and your conscience or your inner guide, and that should in time help you to live your life more in tune with your conscience. That's the aim. So you can ask for help on that level, ask for help on the things that you need to work on. And then with a sense of deep respect and humility, you can close that part of the exercise. Allow the cloud of light once again to expand out into the arm's length distance, still centered in the head, of course. And then we reduce the cloud of light once again back to in and around the head, and pull it down from the head, down through the neck. With a big effort, pull it down through the neck, down through the chest, and center it on the solar plexus. So I recommend not overdoing these ones that come up into the head. They're more advanced trainings. So we do that twice more. We'll pull the cloud of light out of the head, down through the chest, back to the middle dantian. One more time, pull it strongly down through to the chest, down through to the solar plexus. And allow the cloud of light to expand out once again, centered in the middle dantian, out into the arm's length distance. We'll touch into the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. Look for the tingling fullness warmth. Let that spread simultaneously through the whole body. Give yourself a suggestion to keep a connection to this deeper part of yourself. And slowly allow the eyes to open. So that was about 45 minutes. I should have said at the beginning of the video, so it's a bit late now, to give yourself 45 minutes. I might take you down to the beach one of these days and do the form down at the beach. That's if I don't get arrested by the thought police or whatever. Because I only live 10 minutes walk from the beach. And another thought occurred to me. I'm doing some additional training as well as the Tai Chi. I'm doing a few other things as well. Because normally I'm out and about and much more active. Not that I'm not active at the moment, actually I'm very busy. But I'm doing some additional training. And if you'd like something of that, then we could do maybe a 15 or 20 minute little thing. And I'll put some pieces bits and pieces, some exercises together that will be appropriate for the Tai Chi, but maybe a little bit more physical than we normally do in the Tai Chi. So, okay, hope that's useful. Let me know. The feedback was good last time. Thank you very much. I mean, in terms of changing things around a bit, I've tried to do that. Let me know if that works. Okay, take care.